Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm super excited for this video because it is indie makeup releases, which is my weekly video. I post pretty much every Sunday morning and just talk about the new releases on the indie market and whether I'm thinking to purchase them or not. And then I normally include some mainstream at the end. This week, every week is different as far as the balance goes, but there's not as many indie things to talk about this week, and it's probably just because I haven't been as diligent with my indie makeup spotlight because I've been so busy, so I haven't been posting as much and looking for more things to post and then therefore more things to talk about in this video. So I apologize for that. It probably won't be as long as normal, which is probably a good thing for some people. So this video series is inspired by Aniela Kanikis and Samantha March. I have both their channels linked down below, as well as the community will I buy it playlist and all the Instagram accounts that I use to make this video happen every single week. So really quickly, before we jump into the new products, I did want to mention, in case you're curious what's on my face, I'm still, this is the third week in a row, still working on my week of the Jackie Anna Types ABH palette. I've done 4 looks so far, so I've got 1 more to go. My life has just been crazy lately, but this is what I have on my eyes today, and I will probably post a video with it soonish. No promises. Still working on that, but that's what's on my eyes. And then I have the LC highlighter on my face for my highlight, and the e.l.f. Nude Kiss lip oil for my lips. So now let's go ahead and jump on into the new releases. Alright, so first of all, we have a really exciting sneak peek, and this is from Menagerie Cosmetics. So they posted a picture of this new palette that says Killer Purr, and it says coming this fall. So I am really excited just because I love the Menagerie Cosmetics formula. I think that they do beautiful palettes and color schemes, and I'm really curious. I have a feeling that this is going to be a neutral palette, but I really hope it's kind of neutrally with like some rich warm tones and some mustardy colors, and maybe some, like, I don't know, a little bit of like the green. I just wanted to match the outside, which they normally do pretty well. So I'm excited. I'm so excited to see what colors they end up doing. Probably gonna end up purchasing it, probably. I just love their formula so much. You can't beat it, and I just love the aesthetic of the brand. So that's definitely on the horizons as far as like purchases I'm thinking I might end up making. And then next is a palette, and I'm gonna take the time to go ahead and put the video on screen so you guys can see how this works. This is really interesting. It is an Egyptian pyramid palette from Smoove Gal, and it's available now for pre-order. It's a pyramid, and then all of the little flaps fold open, which is so interesting. It does, when it opens up, it does go completely flat, so if that's something you're worried about, but it's definitely not going to be the most easy to store. You could, I don't know, I feel like if you had this, it would be kind of a display piece. It's cool, but it's not something I'm personally interested in. I haven't even seen all the colors because they just sneak peeked a little portion, but I think it's definitely attention grabbing. I did think it was a little bit unfortunate that the brand was in Indie Makeup Spotlight comments kind of getting a little bit defensive, a little bit rude to some people who did not like it, and I feel like people are so opinionated about whether they like products or not. I feel like you just kind of have to take it in, hear if there's constructive criticism, and if there's not, then just keep moving. I feel like calling people miserable and stuff is not a good look on a brand's part. So that was one thing that kind of, like, and I felt a little about, just because I'd never heard of them until now. But overall, I think it's a cool idea. So next is the new palette from Juvia's place. This is the Nomad palette, and I actually went ahead and pulled it out because I was sent this. I actually received it in PR today, and it looks really beautiful, so I figured I may as well just show you it in person, or not in person. I may as well show the product rather than putting it on the screen as a picture. So here is what the palette looks like. They showed a sneak peek of the outside last week, but now we saw the inside, and I will say straight up, like, this is not something I would have bought if it hadn't been sent to me as PR, just because I have enough neutral palettes. And I don't know, I was a little bit disappointed because I love the outside packaging so much. I was hoping for like yellows and greens and maybe a touch of blue, and like neutral would be fine, but just to show you the green here, it looks very very gray. I haven't swatched it yet, so I'm not sure how green it's going to end up being. And then the yellow has micro shimmers in it. The tan has micro shimmers, so I'm really hoping those don't show up on the eye. But everything else other than that looks beautiful. I really love this kind of mustardy shade here, so I've got plans all day tomorrow, but I'm hoping Sunday afternoon I'll be able to film a little first impression with this and have it up on Monday. So if you want to see that video, then that'll be tomorrow. So just wanted to show you it really quickly and kind of give you my thoughts so far. Like I said, I don't think I would have purchased this just because it's not my color scheme per se, but I am excited to use it and compare it and see what it's all about, because I think the swatches that they did and showed on their Instagram were really pretty, and I mean, I can't deny that the packaging is beautiful. Also, I did want to mention while we're here, we'll mention really quickly, if you're used to the regular Juvia's Place 9-pan palettes, this is just a touch smaller. It's also a little bit less. I think these ones are normally 18 and this is 15 or 20 and 15 or something along those lines. My cat's caterwauling. He's gone completely deaf because he's pretty old and his caterwauls just keep getting louder and louder. But yes, the sizing is a little off, which, I mean, it's cool. Like, it's a little bit less, so you had to pay less, which is great. But if you have all the palettes and they're all like the perfect like square, and it's like, it's not the exact same size. It's a little bit like, oh, like they constantly change the size of their palettes. But it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I just thought I'd mention it. All right, next from Kraken Cosmetics is the new End of the World palette. It's available now for $32, and I think that the palette looks pretty. I'm kind of drawn to it. It looks like it has like really pretty pastel tones, but then when I saw the swatches, I feel like the swatches look so much darker. They almost look like a completely different palette, which is, I don't know. It's like, what do I believe? Do I believe the swatches? Do I believe what the palette looks like in the pans? So I don't really feel like an urge to buy this or anything. I thought that it looks pretty, but I don't feel a need for it. All right, so next from Viseart is a new palette, and this is the Dark Edit, which I feel like this is actually really pretty. When I saw it, it caught my attention. I think it has some really beautiful different tones. There's a little bit of green, a little bit of purple, but it's kind of like, I think it's pretty, but I don't think it's pretty enough for me to want to buy it, kind of thing. Like, I like it, but I'm just not that impressed. Like, it's nice aesthetically, it's fine, but I don't feel the need to have it in my collection. I feel like that's my repeating thing this week. I feel very, very content with what I have, and also like, I feel like it's so stupid to even say like, oh, it's so hard to use the makeup I have when I get PR, and it's like trying to balance everything. It's like, what a horrible problem to have. Not like, I'm so grateful, but it's hard to try and organize it and keep it up with it all. And it's like, there's so many videos I want to do all the time, and I just can't possibly do all of them without uploading like 14 videos a week. So it's a thing, and I just feel a little overwhelmed right now, so it's helping me not want to buy anything else. Wait, what is it? I actually didn't try a new brand in August for my low buy, and then now that we're in September, I'm like a full week in, I haven't bought anything. So that's pretty good. You never know. There's always a new release like every single day, so something might end up grabbing my attention. So next is from Natasha Denona, and we've actually seen a few different releases from her this week, which is overwhelming, and it's kind of sad to see Natasha Denona become like the same as so many other brands where it's like these constant releases. I felt like previously Natasha Denona's palettes were like once in a blue moon, and it was something you could save up for, and it felt like a luxury. It felt like a treat to get this one beautiful palette, because she came out with like a palette like every season, or not even. It was so much slower, especially with the big palettes. And it's like in the last few months there was like the mini tropic, the camel, there was another mini neutral one, the sunset palette came out. There might have even been another one that I can't think of off the top of my head. There's been so many, and now we have this one, So this is the new Mini Gold eyeshadow palette, which of course caught my attention because I love the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I love the way it looks. I actually just purchased it, and I think that this is pretty. I do. I like it, but I'm not sure. I do think this is pretty, and it's a little bit tempting. It's got like a gold with a green shift. I was about to call it a grold. We could make that a thing. A grold, a green gold. It's got like a greeny duochrome. It's got a nice, really interesting green matte shade, and then there's like a tan. The one shade that threw me off in here is the brown. I wish it wasn't a satin. I just feel like that would be so much more beneficial for this color story, for the way that I would personally use it if it was just a true matte. So I don't know. And also some of the mini Natasha Denona palettes can be kind of hit and miss. So if it's something that I see people using and they're like, this is amazing, this is the same quality, it's such a bang for your buck kind of thing with Natasha Denona, then maybe I could possibly be interested in it, but it's not something I'm like, yes, I'm gonna purchase that. But I do think it's really beautiful. And then there's also a little duo here, which is the Glow Gold, and I think that's pretty. But I just don't like when highlighters are put together and it's like two completely different sides of the skin tone spectrum. It's the same with the Pixie little highlighters. They're so good, but they have a light and a dark, and then another duo and it's a light and a dark, and it's like, I wish they would have just put the lights together and the darks together. That way you could purchase what works for your skin tone and get use out of both shades rather than just one. So with this, it's like, if the lighter shade came on its own, then I might be interested in it because I love the Natasha Denona highlighter formula. I feel like I am so close to hitting pan on the Super Glow, I think it's called. I use it almost every single day off camera. I turned into like a mascara and highlighter only kind of girl recently during the daytime, and that's just my go-to. I feel like it's the most beautiful glow, so I would be interested in it if it was a single, but because it's the duo, I just know I wouldn't get my money's worth out of it because I would only be using half of it. So that's kind of unfortunate. I think the packaging looks really beautiful. So it is what it is. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that I don't want it and then I'm not really tempted by it. So the other Natasha Denona release, I'm just going to skip around here so we can talk about this one next, is the new Metropolis palette. And whew, goodness. So this is $129, and I'm not sure if it's smaller pans than normal, because normally the 28 pan Natasha Denona palettes are like $240, I think, something along those lines, and the $129 ones are normally 15 pans normally. So the price and the amount of shades you're getting isn't correlating to what you normally get for Natasha Denona, so I'm wondering if the shades are all smaller. This definitely did catch my attention, and I think it's a beautiful mixture. Of course, the left side is just deliciousness, all the golds and the greens and the blues. Oh, I gotta sneeze. I don't even have to sneeze. I just have to sit here and be tortured by the burning of having to sneeze without having to sneeze. Anyways, where was I before my nose so rudely interrupted me? I don't know. I really like the left side. I think it's stunning. The right side is pretty. I mean, it's warm toned and it looks, I don't know. I'm weirdly intrigued by this, but I'm like, it's too expensive. I don't need this. Like, no, Amy, no. So I'm looking at the swatches and I'm less impressed. When I look at the swatches, I don't like it as much as when I look at it in the palette, which is a good thing, definitely. But you never know. I mean, that's just one swatch picture. So I'm really curious to see what people think of this and the looks that come out, and if there's more swatches and if the textures are amazing. It says it's for holiday 2019. So if it's limited edition, that makes me definitely less drawn to it, but I do think it's really beautiful. I'd love to get my hands on it just to swatch it because, I don't know, the shades just pull me in. They do, but I don't need it. So last but not least is a very interesting release, to say the least. This is the new Colourpop times Kathleenlights palette, and this is their first mega palette or something along those lines is what they called it. So I'm just so over Colourpop, to be quite honest. I'm not trying to be negative. If you love Colourpop, like, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you, but I just feel like I'm so, like, they just release so much that nothing feels special anymore, and it just feels like, oh, it's another palette, it's another palette, it's another palette, it's another palette. Like, I'm just so, I'm like off the Colourpop train, and I'm just like walking away in the other direction because it's, I don't know. I just feel like it's too much products. And there was a quote that I saw from the owner of Seed Beauty, who owns Colourpop or something along those lines, and they said something of like they wanted to make beauty like fast fashion. I'm like, is that really your goal? Like, that's pretty lame. I don't know. I feel like it's probably really wasteful, and there's so many people who are like, I have to have everything Colourpop, or even just like, oh, it's so affordable, so you buy way too much because it's so affordable, but then you're spending as much as you would if you had gotten one really nice thing for yourself and savored it rather than trying to keep up with the new trends from Colourpop. So I don't know. Okay, anyways, just talking about the palette as it is. First of all, it looks like there's some pressed glitters in there, and not a fan of that. I feel like I've never even seen Kathleenlights use a pressed glitter. Maybe I'm like behind, maybe I haven't watched recent videos enough, but I feel like I haven't seen her do that. I think the color story overall kind of reminds me of a more modern version of the Morphe x Jaclyn Hill palette. Also, the size kind of reminds me of that, so I don't know. It's okay. Like, I guess it's kind of nice to look at. There's some interesting colors in here, but it's definitely not something I see myself purchasing. It's also $39, which I just feel like is so much for Colourpop, even though it is technically a bigger palette. I don't love it overall. I feel like I could probably pick a few shades out here and there that I like, and maybe it would be cool if they made these available as singles, so you could do that yourself and build your own palette and do the specific shades that you really liked. Because overall, it's not for me. It's not for me. If you love it, I'm so happy for you, and I hope that you enjoy it. But no, I don't want it. But I did see, I can't remember where I saw it, but I'm pretty sure that they did announce that it is permanent. I saw that somewhere, that it's permanent, which I appreciate it just being permanent and not like hyping up this like faux limited edition kind of thing, as a lot of brands do. So at least there's that one thing, that one nice thing I liked about it. And also, as far as them collaborating with Kathleen so much, I think it makes sense, honestly. I feel like for her as a huge influencer, I definitely see why it would be so nice to continuously collab with a brand that you have such good relations with, and also that is pretty affordable for your viewers. And in my head, it makes sense. So she's been OG Colourpop, so it makes sense to me. Alright, so that is pretty much everything for today's video. I know it's a bit shorter than usual, but that's pretty nice for me because that means it's going to take way less time to edit, and maybe I can wiggle in room for an extra like nap or something. I could go for a nap right now. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!